Thank you very much. Thank you very, very much. Wow. And thank you, Dana. Thank you, Kid Rock, sometimes referred to as Bob. And thank you, Lee, right from the beginning. Thank you very much. What a talent. What a beautiful, beautiful song. Thank you. Friends, delegates, and fellow citizens, I stand before you this evening with a message of confidence, strength, and hope. 4 months from now, we will have an incredible victory, and we will begin the 4 greatest years in the history of our country. Together, we will launch a new era of safety, prosperity, and freedom for citizens of every race, religion, color, and creed. The discord and division in our society must be healed. We must heal it quickly. As Americans, we are bound together by a single fate and a shared destiny. We rise together or we fall apart. I am running to be president for all of America, not half of America, because there is no victory in winning for half of America. So tonight, with faith and devotion, I proudly accept your nomination for President of the United States. Thank you.
So huge applause when he accepts the nomination. Again, we're about 2 blocks from the center, and I heard it. I might have heard it through another TV screen, I think, but still, huge, huge applause. And obviously, this is their hero. This is their messiah.
Right.
And especially after surviving an attempted assassination, he becomes more of a messiah figure.
Definitely.
And he does that Trump thing that he does. Like he'll stay at a microphone, then lean like this, like this. And he looks cool, as I've said before, when he did the fist pump after the assassination attempt.
And we will do it
crying,
right.
like sobbing.
We're going to do it right. Let me
begin everything
this
Trump
evening
does.
by expressing my gratitude to the American people for your outpouring of love and support following the assassination attempt at my rally on Saturday.
Again, you would probably see
As you already know, the assassin's bullet came within a quarter of an inch of taking my life. So many people have asked me, what happened? Tell us what happened, please. And therefore, I will tell you exactly what happened. And you'll never hear it from me a second time because it's actually too painful to tell.
I bet he says it so many times.
It was a warm, beautiful day in the early evening in Butler Township in the great Commonwealth of Pennsylvania.
Poetic.
Music was
the way he
loudly
talks,
playing,
like you can't help but.
and the campaign was
unique.
doing really well. I went to the stage and the crowd was cheering wildly. Everybody was happy. I began speaking very strongly, powerfully, and happily because I was discussing the great job my administration did on immigration at the southern border. We were very proud of it.
Poor job at the northern border, but we're okay.
Behind me and to the right was a large screen that was displaying a chart of border crossings under my leadership. The numbers were absolutely amazing. In order to see the chart, I started to, like this, turn to my right and was ready to begin a little bit further turn, which I'm very lucky I didn't do. When I heard a loud whizzing sound,
he was though. That's literally true.
Something hit me really, really hard on my right ear. I said to myself, "Wow, what was that? It can only be a bullet." and moved my right hand to my ear, brought it down. My hand was covered with blood, just absolutely blood all over the place. I immediately knew it was very serious, that we were under attack, and in one movement proceeded to drop to the ground. Bullets were continuing to fly as very brave Secret Service agents rushed to the stage, and they really did. They rushed to the stage.
Good, yeah, that was good. This is very different from his 2016 speech.
Yeah,
Very different.
These are great people, at great risk, I will tell you, and pounced on top of me so that I would be protected. There was blood pouring everywhere, and yet, in a certain way, I felt very safe because I had God on my side. I felt that.
You're going to love that.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Oh, Laura Luma is at the ball. She looks like Matt Gaetz. Or Matt Gaetz looks like Turk.
The amazing thing is that prior to the shot, if I had not moved my head at that very last instant, the assassin's bullet would have perfectly hit its mark, and I would not be here tonight. We would not be together. The most incredible aspect of what took place on that terrible evening in the fading sun was actually seen later. In almost all cases, as you probably know, and when even a single bullet is fired, just a single bullet, and we had many bullets that were being fired, crowds run for the exits or stampede, but not in this case. It's very unusual.
It's actually very true.
Yeah, that's exactly what I gave the crowd credit for earlier.
Tens of thousands of people.
When another speaker pointed that out, I'm like, that crowd was super impressive for not running.
Them bravely, but automatically stood up looking for where the sniper would be. They knew immediately it was a sniper, and then began pointing at him. You can see that if you look at the group behind me. That was just a small group compared to what was in front. Nobody ran, and by not stampeding, many lives were saved. But that isn't the reason.
About crowd sizes. It's actually impressive.
Yeah, always stays on message and
That
crowd size. It's true.
The reason is that they knew I was in very serious trouble. They saw it. They saw me go down. They saw the blood and thought, actually most did, that I was dead. They knew it was a shot to the head. They saw the blood. And there's an interesting statistic. The ears are the bloodiest part. If something happens with the ears, they bleed more than any other part of the body. For whatever reason, the doctors told me that. I said, why is there so much blood? He said, it's the ears. They bleed more. So we learned something, but they just, this beautiful crowd, they didn't want to leave me. They knew I was in trouble. They didn't want to leave me. And you can see that love written all over their faces.
I think that's totally true. I think the crowd was brave. I think the people who looked at the sniper, who saw the sniper early, might have saved his life. Those are Trump fans, because the sniper had to rush his shot.
Themselves in peril. They were in very dangerous territory. Bullets were flying right over them, missing them by a very small amount of inches. And then it all stopped. Our Secret Service sniper, from a much greater distance and with only one bullet used, took the assassin's life, took him out.
That's interesting.
That's impressive.
I didn't know that detail. But I mean, those snipers are amazing. The Secret Service ones.
I give him a lot of credit for not being divisive and like placing blame on the Secret Service and stuff like that.
Yeah. His protection of the Secret Service is really nice. And his ode to the crowd is both strategically smart and morally correct.
Yeah.
And also factually correct. I was shocked that the crowd wasn't running out. And his supporters do love him, and they might have partly saved his life.
I stand before you in this arena only by the grace of Almighty God.
And so him emphasizing religion here, again, makes sense, and his crowd loves it.
Over the last few days, many people say it was a providential moment. Probably was. When I rose, surrounded by Secret Service, the crowd was confused because they thought I was dead, and there was great, great sorrow. I could see that on their faces as I looked out. They didn't know I was looking out. They thought it was over. But I could see it. I wanted to do something to let them know I was okay. I raised my right arm, looked at the thousands and thousands of people that were breathlessly waiting, and started shouting, "Fight, fight, fight."
Yeah. So now the crowd is chanting, "Fight, fight, fight." So when religious folks think that God looked out for you, that means they think that you're meant to be president, meant to be our leader. So it's very effective in convincing religious people to vote for him.
The crowd realized I was okay and roared with pride for our country like no crowd I have ever heard before.
Very large crowd, thousands of people.
That picture is unbelievable.
Yeah, it doesn't get any better than that picture.
For the love shown by that giant audience of patriots that stood bravely on that fateful evening in Pennsylvania. Tragically, the shooter claimed the life of one of our fellow Americans, Corey, comparator, unbelievable person, everybody tells me. Unbelievable. And seriously wounded.
Not Glenn Close.
Two other great warriors.
No,
Spoke to them
I see the
today.
resemblance.
David Dutch and James Copenhaver. Two great people.
Combination of Glenn Close and
I
Yale
also
Street.
spoke to all three families of these tremendous people. Our love and prayers are with them, and always will be. We're never going to forget them. They came for a great rally. They were serious Trumpsters, I want to tell you. They were serious Trumpsters and still are. But Corey, unfortunately, we have to use the past tense. He was incredible. He was a highly respected former fire chief, respected by everybody. Was accompanied by his wife, Helen, incredible woman. I spoke to her today, devastated, and two precious daughters. He lost his life selflessly acting as a human shield to protect them from flying bullets. He went right over the top of them and was hit. What a fine man he was.
Doesn't get any more heroic than that.
Yeah, totally.
And by the way, the next time we were all tempted to hate a MAGA person, remember Corey Comfort and I butchered his name there, but sorry, Corey was incredibly brave. And remember that some of the MAGA fans, wow, he's going to stand by his firefighter outfit, and he's kissing it. Oh my God. This guy knows politics, man.
Yeah, he does.
He really does.
He does. What did I tell you?
I know.
He has good instincts.
He has good instincts. He does. I don't think he's very bright. I've said that thousands of times, and I can prove it. But he has good instincts for marketing and politics.
Yes.
He really does.
Put your, thoughts about his policies aside.
The family for
when it comes to the horse race, he knows what to do.
Yeah.
His helmet, his outfit, and it was just something, and they're going to do something very special when they get it. But we did something which cannot match what happened, not even close. But I am very proud to say that over the past few days, we've raised $6.3 million.
Oh, for Corey's family.
Yeah.
Oh, thank God. I thought he was bragging about fundraising.
For the families.
That would be not good instincts.
No.
And Corey, including from a friend of mine, just called up. He sent me a check right here. I just got it. $1 million.
Wow.
From Dan Newland. Thank you, Dan.
Now you're trying to hit me up.
Yeah.
And again, when speaking to the family, I told them, I said, well, I'm going to be sending you a lot of money, but it can't compensate. They all said the same thing. You're right, sir. We appreciate so much what you're doing, but nothing can take the place in the case of Corey. And the other two, by the way, they were very, very seriously injured, but now they're doing very well. They're going to be okay. They're going to be doing very well.
It's not surprising that people were that generous towards Corey's family, but I'm glad they were.
So now I ask that we observe a moment of silence in honor of our friend Corey. There is no greater love than to lay down one's life for others. This is the spirit that forged America in her darkest hours, and this is the love that will lead America back to the summit of human achievement and greatness. This is what we need. Despite such a heinous attack, we unite this evening more determined than ever. I am more determined than ever, and so are you. So is everybody in this room.
The firefighter outfit plus a field in Pennsylvania gives you vibes of 9/11 and surviving some sort of tragedy like that. And it's a reminder of other tragedies that America has had and survived. It's just very powerful. It's well done. I bet you some Democrats make the mistake of criticizing him for kissing the helmet of the firefighter. They would be so stupid if they did that. But I can see it now.
Our purpose is unchanged: to deliver a government that serves the American people better than ever before. Nothing will stop me in this mission because our vision is righteous and our cause is pure. No matter what obstacle comes our way, we will not break, we will not bend, we will not back down, and I will never stop fighting for you, your family, and our magnificent country. Never.
And his followers believe that with all their heart, that he's fighting as hard as he possibly can for them.
All of the energy and fight in my heart and soul, I pledge to our nation tonight. Thank you very much. I pledge that to our nation. We're going to turn our nation around, and we're going to do it very quickly. Thank you. This election should be about the issues facing our country and how to make America successful, safe, free, and great again.
So far, it's been
our politics
it's been benign so far as a speech.
Now is the time to remember that we are all fellow citizens. We are one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So not too much politics, not too much policy so far. It's a compelling story. Makes sense.
Political disagreement, which is what's been happening in our country lately at a level that nobody has ever seen before. In that spirit, the Democrat Party should immediately stop weaponizing the justice system and labeling their political opponent as an enemy of democracy.
He's now trying to use the tragedy as a way of...
That is not true.
Like a get out of jail free card.
Yeah.
Saving democracy for the people of our country.
First, he's saying, take away the talking point that I'm trying to end democracy since I got shot, right? Those two things are not logically connected.
As you probably just read, on Monday, a major ruling was handed down from a highly respected federal judge in Florida, Eileen Cannon, finding that the prosecutor and the fake documents case against me were totally unconstitutional, and the entire case was thrown out of court. With all of that publicity, thrown out of court.
Yeah, so now he's shifted to, you should stop prosecuting me as well.
They should drop these partisan witch hunts, which I have been going through for approximately 8 years. And they should do that without delay and allow an election to proceed that is worthy of our people. We're going to win it anyway, but worthy of our people.
So in the assassination attempt, he's a victim, an actual victim.
To be joined by my amazing wife, Melania.
For the first time in this convention. Okay, so they're like, see, she showed up. That's this portion of the speech. Anyway, so he has real victimhood on the shooting attempt and the shooting. And then he's trying to transfer that to, well, you see, I'm also a victim of this prosecutions and of them saying that I was trying to end democracy. Except, brother, you had fake electors and you were trying to end democracy, and you did commit those crimes. Those are not related to the shooting.
Exactly.
Really beautiful. A letter to America calling for national unity, and it really took the Republican Party by surprise. I will tell you, it was beautiful.
Why were they surprised that she would want national unity? Why does she normally want division? Well, she might. There's a certain division she might be a fan of.
People said that we should take that letter and put it as part of the Republican platform. That would be an honor, wouldn't it? Right?
That makes
Mr. Congressman? But it captivated so many, so I also want to thank my entire family for being here. Don, Kimberly, Ivanka and Jared, Eric and Lara, Tiffany and Michael, Baron. We love our Baron.
We love our Baron. What a funny way to say it.
And of course, my 10 wonderful grandchildren. You saw a few of them up there on my lap before.
Look, there's nothing wrong with thanking your family. God bless. And you remember Tiffany.
Was Dana?
Perfect.
Was Dana good?
She's in there.
Yeah. Was he good? You know, he was on probably the only vacation he's had in about, maybe ever, because he works, but about 10 years with his wife, very far away. I won't tell you where, but very, very far away. Beautiful place. And my people called, and he said, yeah, I won't be able to do it. This is many, many years. I promised my wife I can't do it. And they came in, they said, Dana won't be able to do it because he was my first, second, and third choice. I said, well, you know, that's too bad, but I understand he's away, and it's good. It's good for him. And that was it. About 30 minutes later, she came back in, sir, Dana just called. He's going to do it. And his wife, she said, you can't turn him down. You just can't do it. You have to go. That's a good wife.
I'm sure she appreciates the seal of approval. Yeah, if the president, if the former president and current candidate asks you to introduce him, you go and introduce him.
Yeah, 100%.
And he's going to go back home to his wife.
I don't know if it actually played out that way.
Great, and
Dana
I
might
just
say
want
go.
to thank her and him and their whole family because that's not easy. And Kid Rock, same thing. Called, he said, I want to be a part of it. I want to be a part, because, you know, Kid does his great song, Big, Big Monster song. I had no idea. You know, he became a friend of mine over the last 10 years. And he's amazing. Everyone loves him. I didn't even know how big he was.
Not everyone.
He has rallies, 35, 40,000 people he gets every time he goes out. I think he's making so much money, he doesn't know what the hell to do with it. You want to know?
I think those are called concerts and not rallies.
And
So why is he doing rallies? I was like, oh, he means concert.
So long, and we took that song, and it was a big success, but we made that. I saw a chart of great songs to America. That was #1 on the chart recently, #1. So
such a Trump thing to brag about Kid Rock's songs because Kid Rock just sang.
Beautiful person. He's a beautiful man.
Beautiful man.
Is Kid Rock beautiful? I don't know that that's true.
Not my type.
And how about the Hulkster? How good was he? Is he? Where is he? Boy, oh boy.
Oh, now he's just riffing. He's off the prompter.
Totally.
Yeah.
Some crowd work.
Yeah.
This is surreal.
It is surreal.
They may call that entertainment. I know about entertainment, but when he used to lift a 350-pound man over his shoulders and then bench press him 2 rows into the audience, I say maybe entertainment, but he is one strong son of a gun. I will tell you, I watched it many times. There aren't a lot of
He's depleting his
entertainers
life
that
energy.
can do that, right? You were fantastic. Thank you very much. Followed by Eric. What was that all about? Boy, that was good. I didn't want to really come up here.
You didn't
But
want
he
him to
was
come
so
up there?
great, and he's such a good young man. He went through a lot of trouble, and Don last night
he
was
didn't want to
incredible.
go.
He didn't
went
want
through
to.
so much trouble. They got
That's not true
subpoenaed
at
more
all.
than any people probably in the history of the United States. Every week they get another subpoena from the Democrats, crazy Nancy Pelosi, the whole thing, just boom, boom.
Oh, unifying. Crazy Nancy Pelosi.
He can't help himself.
No, he can't help it.
They've got to
Trump's
stop
got a
that
Trump.
because they're destroying our country. We have to work on making America great again, not on beating people. And we won. We beat them and all. We beat them on the impeachments. We beat them on indictments. We beat them. The time that you have to spend.
We can't do it about beating people,
The time that
but
you
we
have
beat
to
them. We
spend,
beat them
if
on
they would
everything.
Devote that genius to helping our country.
You know what? I'll
we'd have
allow
a
it.
much
I'll allow
stronger
it.
and better
It's a
country.
Trumpism. Like, it's totally something he'd say. But beat them in the what?
No, but we have to unify. You can't be about beating people. But we beat them. We beat them on this. We beat them on that. I'll beat them again.
The biggest star in country music, Jason, thank you for being here. Jason, thank you very much.
Are we going to go through every speaker?
Jason Aldean, he's good. I like his wife even better, by the way. She's here. Thank you, Jason. But I'm thrilled to have a
Like, come on.
new friend and partner fighting by my side. The next Vice President of the United States, the current Senator from Ohio, J.D. Vance, and his incredible wife, Usha.
Okay, all right. Okay, see, that one makes sense. You call out your vice president, etc. You didn't have to go through, I'm glad the Kid Rock sang, I'm glad Lee Greenwood sang, and did you know Lee Greenwood's wife is hot? And did you okay, let's get through this speech.
Vice President, he's going to be great. He'll be with this country and with this movement, greatest movement in the history of our country, Make America Great Again. When they criticized it, they said, we're going to try and stop MAGA. I said, MAGA is Make America Great Again. What are you going to stop? There's nothing to stop. Then they say, oh, that's right. It's very tough to fight it. And all of the people that did try and fight it.
Did they say that?
But he's going to be with us for a long time, and it was an honor to select him. Great student at Yale. His wife was a great student at Yale. They met at Yale. These are two smart people.
See, he loves the elite schools.
So,
Yeah, he does.
You're going to be doing this
Definitely.
for a long time. Enjoy the ride.
I'm telling you, he keeps going off prompter, and he's going to say something wrong.
To the extraordinary people of Milwaukee and the great state of... Oh, there they are.
For the most part, he's like remained positive.
You are so easy to spot.
Yeah, so far, by the way,
Green Bay's
it's
going to have a good
perfectly
team this
great,
year, right?
fine speech.
They're going to have a good team. They're going to have a good team.
Yeah.
Most of the
He said the great
audience
city
doesn't
of
like it,
Milwaukee,
but it's
remember
true. You
he
have a very good team.
insulted it before,
Yes.
so he's making up
And
for
by
that.
the way, Wisconsin,
By the way, it is a great
we
city.
are
It is. Yeah.
spending over $250 million here creating jobs and other economic development all over the place. So I hope you will remember this in November and give us your vote. I am trying to buy your vote.
I'm trying to buy your
Honest
vote.
about that.
I'll be honest about that.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. And he's certainly doing that with the oil companies and Miriam Adelson.
Wisconsin, great again. We're going to make it. Thank you, Mr. Governor. Thank you very much. Thank you. I'm here tonight to lay out a vision for the whole nation. To every citizen, whether you're a young or old man or woman, Democrat, Republican, or independent, black or white, Asian or Hispanic, I extend to you a hand of loyalty and of friendship. Together we will lead America to new heights of greatness like the world has never seen before. We were right there in the first term. We got hit with COVID. We did a great job. Nobody knew what it was, but nobody's ever seen an economy pre-COVID. And then we handed over a stock market that was substantially higher than just prior to COVID. coming in, did a great job. Never got credit for that. We got credit for the war and defeating ISIS and so many things, the great economy, the biggest tax cuts ever, the biggest regulation cuts ever, the creation of Space Force, the rebuilding of our military. We did so much. We did so much. Right to try. Right to try is a big deal. We got right to try. They were trying to get that for 52 years.
What's
Somebody's
right to try?
terminally ill. And hopefully there's nobody in this audience, but it does happen a lot. They're terminally ill and they can't use our new space age drugs and other things that we are way ahead. We have the greatest doctors in the world, the greatest laboratories in the world, and you can't do it. They've been trying to get that approved for 52 years. Wasn't that easy? The insurance companies didn't want to do it. They didn't want the risk. The labs didn't want to do it because if it didn't work, people are pretty far down the line toward death. They didn't want to do it. The doctors didn't want to have it on their records, so I got everybody into an office. 52 years they tried. Sounds simple, but it's not. And I got them to agree that somebody that needs it will, instead of going to Asia, Europe, or someplace, or if you have no money going home and dying, just die. We got them to sign an agreement, agree to it, where they're not going to sue anybody. They're going to get all of this stuff. They're going to get it really fast. And what's happened is we're saving thousands and thousands of lives. It's incredible. Right to try.
I do not expect experimental treatments to make a
It's great
appearance.
feeling.
Yeah, that's shocking.
Under our leadership, the United States will be respected again. No nation will question our power. No enemy will doubt our might. Our borders will be totally secure. Our economy will soar. We will return law and order to our streets, patriotism to our schools, and importantly, we will restore peace, stability, and harmony all throughout the world. But to achieve this future, we must first rescue our nation from failed and even incompetent leadership. We have totally incompetent leadership. This will be the most important election in the history of our country. Under the current administration, we are indeed a nation in decline. We have an inflation crisis that is making life unaffordable, ravaging the incomes of working and low-income families, and crushing, just simply crushing our people like never before. They've never seen anything like it. We also have an illegal immigration
It's record low unemployment
crisis, and it's taking place right now as we sit here in this beautiful arena. It's a massive invasion at our southern border that has spread misery, crime, poverty, disease, and destruction to communities all across our land. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. Then there's an international crisis, the likes of which the world has seldom been part of. Nobody can believe what's happening. War is now raging in Europe, in the Middle East. A growing specter of conflict hangs over Taiwan, Korea, the Philippines, and all of Asia. And our planet is teetering on the edge of World War III. And this will be a war like no other war because of weaponry. The weapons are no longer army tanks going back and forth shooting at each other. These weapons are obliteration.
I think we've known that for some time.
This administration
Got the invisible jets
can't
too.
come close to solving the problems. We're dealing with very tough, very fierce people. They're fierce people.
Ooh.
And we don't have fierce people. We have people that are a lot less than fierce, except when it comes to cheating on elections and a couple of other things. Then they're fierce.
Talking about the politicians on the Democratic
Then
side.
they're fierce. So tonight, I make this pledge to the great people of America. I will end the devastating inflation crisis immediately, bring down interest rates, and lower the cost of energy. We will drill, baby, drill.
We'd be drilling, trust me.
Yeah, we're already number one in drilling. Okay, so Rudy Giuliani last night told us that the way that Trump would prevent wars is that he would threaten a bigger war, potentially World War III. And he might actually bomb countries like Russia to make sure that they don't invade them. Well, that would create much larger wars. That wouldn't be an anti-war position. That could be potentially a pro-war position.
But by doing that, we will lead a large-scale decline in prices. Prices will start to come down. Energy raised it. They took our energy policies and destroyed them. Then they immediately went back to them, but by that time, so much was lost. But we will do it at levels that nobody's ever seen before. And
Our energy policies
we'll end
barely even matter. It's an
lots of
international
different things. We'll
market.
start paying
I
off
just-
debt and start lowering taxes even further.
This
We gave you the
argument drives me
largest tax
nuts.
cut.
I'm so sick of it.
We'll do it more. You know, people
Are
don't
we going to
realize
nationalize oil and
I
gas
brought taxes
in America?
way down,
Are we going to nationalize
way
it?
down.
We're not going to nationalize
And
it,
yet we
right?
took in
Okay.
more revenues the following
Then they're
year
going to sell
than we
it
did when the
on the
tax rate
international
was much
market.
higher. Most people said, how did you do that? Because it was incentive. Everybody was coming to the country. They were bringing back billions and billions of dollars into our country. The companies made it impossible to bring it back. The tax rate was too high, and the legal complications were far too great. I changed both of them, and hundreds of billions of dollars by Apple and so many other companies were brought back into our nation, and we had an economy the likes of which no nation had ever seen. China, we were beating them at levels that were incredible. And they know it.
He's always very vague. Like, he makes declarative statements about his success, but it's like,
I will end the illegal immigration crisis by closing our border and finishing the wall, most of which I've already built.
He did not build most of the wall. Come on, brother. And by the way, the repatriation tax he's talking about, he lowered it from 35 to
On the wall, we were
8.5%.
dealing with a
It
very
allowed his
difficult
main donor,
Congress.
Sheldon Adelson, bring
And I
back
said,
billions of
"Oh, that's
dollars
okay.
at a
We
much
won't go
lower
to
tax
Congress."
rate.
I call it an invasion. We gave our military almost $800 billion. I said, I'm going to take a little of that money because this is an invasion. And we built, most of the wall is already built. And we built it through using the funds because what's better than that? We have to stop the invasion
just
into
build the wall.
our
Just build it. And be,
country that's
I never want to hear about it again.
I know.
Just let's be done with
thousands
it.
of
Build it.
people a year. I'm
God.
not going to let that happen. I will end every single international crisis that the current
Every one of them.
administration has created, including the horrible war with Russia and Ukraine, which would have never happened if I was president, and the war caused by the attack on Israel, which would have never happened if I was president. Iran was broke. Iran had no money. Now Iran has $250 billion. They made it all over the last 2.5 years. They were broke. I watched the other
Eric
day
Trump
on
said
the
150 billion. He
Deface
just
the
increased it to
Nation. Has anyone seen
250
it?
billion in the span of
And
two
they had a
speeches.
congressman who was a Democrat say, well, whether you like him or not, Iran was broke dealing with Trump. I told China and other countries, if you buy from Iran, we will not let you do any business in this country, and we will put tariffs on every product you do send in of 100% or more. And they said to me, well, I think that's about it. They weren't going to buy any oil. And they were ready to make a deal. Iran was going to make a deal with us. And then we had that horrible result that we'll never let happen again. The election result, we're never going to let that happen again. They used COVID to cheat. We're never going to let it happen again. And they took
He's
off
still
all
talking
the
about how they
sanctions,
cheated in
and
the
they
election,
did
yep.
everything possible for Iran. And now Iran is very close to having a nuclear weapon, which would have never happened. This is a shame what this administration, the damage that this administration has done. And I say it often. If you took the 10 worst presidents in the history of the United States, think of it, the 10 worst, added them up, they will not have done the damage that Biden has done. Only going to use the term once. Biden. I'm not going to use the name anymore, just one time. The damage that he's done to this country is unthinkable. It's unthinkable. Together we will restore vision, strength, competence, and we're going to have a thing called common sense making most of our decisions, actually. It's all common sense.
He says he won't use Biden's name anymore. Let's see what happens. That kid
We
said
had
he
the
loves
most
the Young
secure
Turks.
border and best economy
Which kid?
in the history
The kid
of
they
our
just showed
country,
on screen.
in the history of
Really?
the world.
Yeah.
We had the greatest economy in the history of the world. We had never done anything like it. We were beating every country, including China, by leaps and bounds. Nobody had seen anything like it. We had no inflation. Soaring incomes were going. Nobody can believe it. You can't believe what happened 4 years ago.
I can't believe it.
Yeah, there's a good reason why we don't believe it.
And the world was at peace.
Nobody's ever
Inflation
seen it.
has been a killer for our country. No matter what you make it doesn't
has
matter.
definitely been a
because
killer, but like,
inflation
what are you
is
going to do to
eating
bring
alive
inflation
people
down?
who
I'm
were putting
very
away
curious about
money.
the policy.
They were making great wages, the highest they've ever made, but they were putting away a lot of money. Now they are just being destroyed. They're not putting away
Adjusted
anything.
for inflation, they were not the highest ever at all.
The only time I actually put away a lot of money was during COVID when everything was shut down.
Remember,
and I had nowhere to
it's
spend
called
money.
a country buster. You can go back to Germany from 100 years ago. You can go back to any country that suffered great inflation. We've suffered the worst inflation we've ever had. But go back and see what's happened to those countries.
No,
we've had the
worse
worst inflation we've ever had under this
That's not true.
person. But in less than 4 years, our opponents have turned incredible success into unparalleled tragedy and failure. It's been a tremendous failure. Today, our cities are flooded with illegal aliens. Americans are being squeezed out of the labor force and their jobs are taken. And by the way, you know who's taking the jobs that are created? 107% of those jobs are taken by illegal aliens. And you know who's being hurt the most by
107%?
People pouring into our country? The black population and the Hispanic population, because they're taking the jobs from our black population, our Hispanic population, and they're also taking them from unions. The unions are suffering because of it. Thank you. Thank you. I like you too.
Were there jobs slotted for just black jobs and Latino jobs that they took?
Savings of our citizens and forced the middle class into a state of depression and despair. That's what it is. It's despair and depression. We cannot and will not let this continue. Less than 4 years ago, we were a great nation, and we will soon be a great nation again. We're going to be a great nation again.
If the nation was so great, why did we vote you out? Why did you lose by 7.5 million votes? Like, he's creating this fantasy that we were in, like, just nirvana. If we were such nirvana, why didn't you win?
We are now enduring will be fixed, and it will be fixed very, very quickly. So tonight,
very quickly,
whether you've supported me in the past or not, I hope you will support me in the future, because I will bring back the American dream. That's what we're going to do. You don't even hear about the American dream anymore.
Well, to be fair, it's Biden. He mumbles. You can't hear anything.
I am asking you to be excited about the future of our country. Be excited. Be excited.
So when he's on prompter, he has lower energy. When he goes off prompter, he regains his energy. He regains a head of steam. Goes on prompter for a while, his energy goes back down.
Look at all of those big networks. Look at them. They're all here. But every one of them has said this could be the most organized, best run, and most enthusiastic convention of either party that they've ever seen. Every single one.
Well, there's some truth to that. There's a tremendous enthusiasm here.
And it's true.
It's credit where credit is due. It's run tightly.
There's great love in the room.
Run perfectly efficiently, as far as I've seen. And these folks love him, and they're jubilant, no question.
Otherwise, we'll blow it, and we can't let that happen. Now, this is great. The great people that spoke, and everybody hit a home run. I mean, there's not one that I can think of where I said, oh, gee, that wasn't great. Every single person. I refuse to be the only one. Don't do that to me. They're already getting ready. See, I gave him an idea. Now, this was a great convention. This was, I think we're actually going to go home and miss it. You know, usually with first of all, look at these crowds. You'd never have this at a convention. Look at these crowds.
No, every convention's packed. I've been to like countless conventions. They're all packed. Okay, all these people came from all across the country. They're delegates. They have to be there. They're happy to be there.
The entire Republican Party has formally adopted an agenda for America's renewal, and you saw that agenda. And it's very short compared to the long, boring, meaningless agendas of the past, including the Democrats. They write these things that are hundreds of pages long, and they never read them after they're done. In their case,
some truth to that, by the way.
They don't read them because they're pretty bad. It's a series of bold promises that we will swiftly implement when you give us a Republican House And Mr. Speaker, thank you very much. We have our great Speaker of the House with us tonight, Mr. Speaker. Thank you very much.
He might have forgotten Mike Johnson's name.
Speaker. I like that.
There's some chance he forgot the name. It's Mike Johnson.
Senators here. And send me back to our beautiful White House just a few short months from now. We're talking about just months.
Kevin McCarthy is seething.
It can't come fast enough. We have to get it done. First, we must get
My
economic
trials are
relief
coming up.
to our citizens. Starting on day one, we will drive down prices and make America affordable again. We have to make it affordable. It's not affordable. People can't live
what
like
prices?
this. Under
All
this
prices in general.
Oh, okay. Sure. I do
Our
all
current
prices to come down.
administration,
He's gonna do it on day
groceries are
one.
up
He's gonna do it right away.
57%, gasoline is up 60 and 70%, mortgage rates have quadrupled. And the fact is, it doesn't
He will
matter
get
what
interest
they are
rates
because
down
you can't get the money
by
anyway.
bullying
Can't buy
the head of the
houses. Young
Fed,
people
as he
can't
did
get
the last
any
time.
financing
He
to buy
will,
a
like,
house.
that's what he
Total
does.
Household costs
He has no
have
problem bullying
increased
the
an
Fed
average
to
of
lower interest rates.
$28,000 per family under this administration. Republicans have a plan to bring down prices and bring them down very, very rapidly. By slashing energy costs, we will in turn reduce the cost of transportation, manufacturing, and all household goods. So much
Do you
starts
nationalize
with
gas and oil?
energy. And remember, we
So-
have more liquid gold under our feet than any other country by far. We are a nation that has the opportunity to make an absolute fortune with its
That guy's not
energy.
news.
We have it, and China doesn't. Under the Trump administration, just 3.5 years ago, we were energy independent, but soon we will actually be better than that. We will be energy dominant and supply not only ourselves, but we will supply the rest of the world.
That's what we're doing right now.
We're number one right
The
now.
number one
Numbers that
exporter.
nobody has ever seen, and we will reduce our debt. $36 trillion. We will start reducing that, and we will also reduce your taxes still further. Next.
No.
And by the way, they want to
He
raise
drove
your
up the debt
taxes
massively in 4
times.
years.
Think of it. And all my life, I grew up watching politicians. I always loved politics. I guess I was on the other side. I'd watched and they were always talking about, we will give you a tax cut. We will give you a tax cut. My whole life, I was watching, I will give you a tax cut, right, Mr. Congressman? That's all they talked about. This is the only administration that said, we're going to raise your taxes by 4 times what you're paying now, and people are supposed to vote for them? I've never heard it. You're paying too much. We're going to reduce your taxes still further. We gave you the biggest one, as I said. We're going to give you more, and it's going to lead to tremendous growth. We want growth in our country. That's what's going to pay off our debt.
Yeah, so the Fed's about to lower interest rates, so they might do it right before. But if he wins, inflation will go down because they're lowering interest rates. They were already planning on it, and then he'll claim victory. He's the luckiest man alive.
He really is.
But you're right, he does bully the Fed to lower it even more.
He did that with
And
Jerome
that's
Powell in his
caused
term, his
tremendous
first term.
inflationary pressures in addition to the cost of energy. And all of the trillions of dollars that are sitting there not yet spent, we will redirect that money for important projects like roads, bridges, dams, and we will not allow it to be spent on meaningless green new scam ideas.
By the way, that would wipe out the main good thing that Joe Biden did in this term, which is the climate change legislation.
And I will end the electric vehicle mandate on day one.
Elon Musk might want his $180 million back. And by the way, that might be why he's giving him the money, so that he doesn't actually do that.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of
Obliteration, which
electric
is
vehicle
happening
mandates
right now
at
and
all.
saving U.S. customers thousands and thousands of dollars per car.
Yep.
And right now, as
And
we
with
speak,
tariffs on China,
large
those cars
factories just started
a lot more
are
expensive.
being built across the border in Mexico. So with all the other things happening on our border, and they're being built by China to make cars and to sell them into our country. No tax, no anything. The United Auto Workers ought to be ashamed for allowing this to happen. And the leader of the United Auto Workers should be fired immediately. And every single auto worker, union and non-union, should be voting for Donald Trump, because we're going to bring back car manufacturing, and we're going to bring it back fast.
totally salty that Sean Fain endorsed Biden over Trump. That's what this is really about. Sean Fain is an excellent leader for the United Auto Workers.
In the world, we're going to bring it back. We're going to make them. We don't mind that happening, but those plants are going to be built in the United States, and our people are going to man those plants.
Obama and Biden saved the U.S. auto industry.
And if they don't agree
Biden
with
was
this,
part of that
we'll put
administration.
a tariff of approximately 100 to 200% on each car, and they will be unsellable in the United States.
By the way, that'll cause
We have long
significant
been
inflation.
taken advantage of by other countries. And think of it, oftentimes these other countries are considered so-called allies. They've taken advantage of us for years. We lose jobs, we lose revenue, and they gain everything and wipe out our businesses, wipe out our people. I stopped it for 4 years. I stopped it. And we're really ready to make changes like nobody had seen before. And remember, USMCA, I got rid of NAFTA, the worst trade deal ever made, and replaced it with USMCA, which is, they say, the best trade deal ever made.
They say it.
That's what they say.
That's what they say.
Probably the best trade deal was the deal I made with China.
His campaign manager says it.
$50 billion worth of our product. They were buying nothing. They buy $50 billion worth. They had to. But I don't even talk about it because of COVID. I don't even mention it, frankly, because of what happened with
He's never mentioned it.
the China virus.
I mean, he slipped out right there, but he just doesn't like to brag about himself. He's a very humble guy. That was just an accident. He doesn't mention it normally.
Come in, take our jobs, and plunder our nation. They come and do that. They plunder our nation.
This is the appeal to the Rust Belt.
They will sell their product in America is to build it in America. Very simple. Build it in America and only in America.
His economic policies in the second term, when unchecked, can be absolutely disastrous. Those tariffs can massively drive up inflation and create a trade war that it creates a global economic crisis.
This is a very simple formula, and Congress has to go along with us, and they will. This very simple formula will create massive numbers of jobs. We will take over the auto industry again, and many, many, hundreds of thousands of jobs. We lost so many jobs over the years. If you go back 20, 25 years, they've stolen, going to China and Mexico, about 68% of our auto industry.
I don't know if his policies are going to fix that.
We're going to get them all back. We're going to get them all back, every one of them.
We're going to get them all back. Yeah, of course so. Yeah. So of course, those trends are definitely right, but he didn't reverse them at all.
Are massive tax cuts for workers that include something else that's turned out to be very popular, actually. Here it's very popular in this building and all those hotels that I saw that are so nice. I'm staying in a nice one. It's called no tax on tips. No tax on tips.
It's super smart to promise that. He's not going to do it, but it's going to get him a lot of votes. False promises like that are very tempting, and it's what we talk about all the time. People say at least he gives us hope, whether it's false or not, and the Democrats oftentimes don't.
In Nevada,
the Democrats right now are embroiled in a power struggle. Like, it's ridiculous.
Hello. I'll see you there very soon, everybody. And we're having dinner at a beautiful restaurant in the Trump building on the Strip, and it's a great building, and the waitress comes over. How's everything going? Really nice person. How's everything? Oh, sir, it's so tough. The government's after me all the time on tips, tips, tips. I said, well, they give you cash. Would they be able to find him? She said, actually, and I didn't know this, she said, very little cash is given. It's all put right on the check.
True.
And they come in and they
Husband
take so
used to
much
be
of
a
our money. It's just ridiculous. And they don't believe anything we say. And they've just hired, as you know, 88,000 agents to go after him even more.
To go after billionaires and millionaires that aren't paying their taxes, correct?
That's they're not going after waiters. It's people above $400,000 a year.
Consultants, they're paying millions of dollars. But I said to her, let me just ask you a question. Would you be happy if you had no tax on tips? She said, what a great idea. I got my information from a very smart waitress. That's better than spending millions of dollars.
Server, please.
And everybody loves it. Waitresses and caddies and drivers and everybody. It's a large group of people that are being really hurt badly. They make money. Let them keep their money. I'm going to protect Social Security and Medicare. Democrats are going to destroy Social Security and Medicare because all of these people, by the millions they're coming in, they're going to be on Social Security and Medicare and other things, and you're not able to afford it. They are destroying your Social Security and your Medicare. Under my plan, incomes will skyrocket, inflation will vanish completely, jobs will come roaring back, and the middle class will prosper like never, ever before, and we're going to do it very rapidly.
Undocumented immigrants pay into taxes, but they're not allowed to take Social Security or Medicare because they're undocumented.
The dream we have for America can succeed unless we stop the illegal immigrant invasion, the worst that's ever been seen anywhere in the world. There's never been an invasion like this anywhere. Third world countries would fight with sticks and stones not to let this happen.
What about the latest influx of asylum seekers who are really coming here for economic opportunities? They haven't paid into the system. The federal government and state and local governments have spent a ton of money.
Yeah, no, they pay their taxes and can't, even for Social Security and Medicare, and can't get them back
I'm not,
when they're employed.
I'm not talking about undocumented immigrants who have been here and have been employed and have actually paid into the system. I'm talking about like that massive influx under Biden. I mean, it's a big problem in big cities.
And ICE goes in there, and I know a lot of people in these rows here, and they're very tough people, but they don't want to do this job. They'll go into a pack of MS-13 killers. They're the worst, probably the worst gangs in the world. And we have thousands of them. I moved thousands and thousands out in my 4 years. We moved them out, and it was a pleasure. But ICE would go right into a pack of these killers, and you see fists flying, you see everything flying, and then they take them. They put them in a paddy wagon. They take them back and they get them out of our country. And the other countries weren't accepting them back. And I called up and I said, tell them that we're not giving them economic aid anymore. And the next day I got calls from all of these countries that were terminated. Billions of dollars we spend on economic aid to countries that does us, frankly, no good. And the next day
this
I
part
was
of his
called
speech
by
is relatively true.
Take all the calls. Sir, what's the problem? I said, you won't take your killers back that you sent in caravans into America. You won't take them back. Well, sir, if you'd like us to, we would give very serious consideration to doing that. And within 24 hours, they were being taken back. For years and years, when I first came in, they said President Obama tried to get him to go back, and they wouldn't accept him. They'd put planes on the runway so you couldn't leave the plane. They'd close the road so you couldn't take the buses. They'd all have to turn back. As soon as I said no more economic aid of any kind to any country that does that, they called back and they said, sir, it would be our great honor to take MS-13. We love them very much.
These countries didn't send MS-13. They don't love MS-13
we love them very much,
but he
sir,
did.
We'll take them back.
But he did
At the heart
threaten
of the
their
Republican
aid.
platform is our pledge to end this border nightmare and fully restore the sacred and sovereign borders of the United States of America, and we're going to do that on day one.
He did threaten their aid, and it did work. Incentives and disincentives do work. That's a rare thing that Trump does. That's right.
Right? Drill, baby, drill, and close our borders.
Yeah, and in fact, when he did that, I was like, why don't other presidents do that? That's actually really simple. Like, what do you mean you're not going to take back the people that came from your country? Then how about I stop your aid, right? So I agree with that totally.
We want people to come into our country, but they have to come into our country legally. Legally. Less than 4 years ago, I handed this administration the strongest border in American history. But you can see on the chart that saved my life, that was the chart that saved my life. I said, look it, I'm so proud of it. I think it's one of the greatest. It was done by the Border Patrol. One of the greatest charts I've ever seen. It showed everything just like that. You know the chart.
Beautiful chart.
Oh, there it is. That's pretty good. Wow.
It's a great chart.
Last time I put up that chart, I never really got to look at it.
Oh, wow. That's, yeah.
But without
That's
that chart, I would not be here today.
Yeah, that's true. I don't blame him for that being his favorite chart. It does show good numbers for him, bad numbers for Biden, and it saved his life.
Yeah.
If that ain't your favorite chart, I don't know what is. So, Here to that chart. That chart also saved this country from tons of riots.
Chart. I was so proud of it. Definitely. By the time I got to there, I never got to see it that day. But I'm seeing it now, and I was very proud. If you look at the arrow on the bottom.
Did you ever look at before the speech?
Level, the one on the bottom, heavy red arrow. That's the lowest level of illegal immigrants ever to come into our country in recorded history, right there. Right there. And that was my last week in office. And then you see what happened after I left. Look at the rest. And if you go out a little bit further, it's getting to be a little bit old, but I love it anyway, right? But you can go much higher with those numbers. Look what happened right after that. The invasion began. We had the opposite. We stopped the invasion, but the invasion that we stopped was peanuts by comparison to what happened after I left. Look at what happened after I left. They took over our country. We ended all catch and release. We shut down asylum fraud. We stopped human trafficking and forged historic agreements to keep illegal aliens on foreign soil. We want them to stay on their soil. Under the Trump administration, if you came in illegally, you were apprehended immediately and you were deported. You went right back. The current administration terminated every single one of those great Trump policies that I put in place to seal the border. I wanted to seal border. Again, come in, but come in legally. You know how unfair it is? So many people, hundreds of thousands of people have been working for years to come into our country. And now they see these people pour into our country at levels that are unprecedented. It's so unfair. And we're not going to do it. We're not going to stand for it. They suspended wall construction, ended remain in Mexico. We had a policy, remain in Mexico. You think that was easy to get from the Mexican government? But I said, you must give it to us. If you don't give it to us, there will be repercussions. And they gave it to us, but not easy. Canceled our Safe Third agreements, demolished Title 42, implemented nationwide catch and release. That's catch and release, where we catch them and release them into our country. We catch them and release them into Mexico. There's a slight difference. And took 93, this is the previous administration, 93 executive actions to throw open our border to the world. The entire world is pouring into our country because of this very foolish administration. The greatest invasion in history is taking place right here in our country. They are coming in from every corner of the earth, not just from South America, but from Africa, Asia, the Middle East. They're coming from everywhere. They're coming.
The one he mostly built?
Yeah, I hit a section that he built. Yeah. No, but we're going to keep the speech playing, and we're going to switch me out with Michael Shore. Keep watching. We'll be right back.
They're coming from prisons. They're coming from jails. They're coming from mental institutions and insane asylums. You know, the press is always on me because I say this. Has anyone seen Silence of the Lambs? The late, great Hannibal Lecter. He'd love to have you for dinner. That's insane asylums. They're emptying out their insane asylums. And terrorists are coming in at numbers that we've never seen before. Bad things are going to happen. Meanwhile, our crime rate is going up, while crime statistics all over the world are going down, because they're taking their criminals and they're putting them into our country. A certain country, and I happen to like the president of that country very much, but he's been getting great publicity because he's a wonderful shepherd of the country. He says how well the country's doing because their crime rate is down. And he said he's training all of these rough people. They're rough. He's training them. And I've been reading about this for 2 years. I think, oh, that's wonderful. Let's take a look at it. But then I realized he's not training them. He's sending all of his criminals, his drug dealers, his people that are in jails. He's sending them all to the United States. And he's different in that he doesn't say that. He's trying to convince everybody what a wonderful job he does in running the country. Well, he doesn't do a wonderful job. And by the way, if I ran one of the countries, many countries from all over, I would be worse than any of them. I would have had the place totally emptied out already. But we become a dumping ground for the rest of the world, which is laughing at us. They think we're stupid. And they can't believe that they're getting away with what they're getting away with, but they're not going to be getting away with it for long. That's what I can tell you. In Venezuela, Caracas, high crime. Caracas, Venezuela, really a dangerous place, but not anymore. Because in Venezuela, crime is down 72%. In fact, if they would ever win this election, I hate to even say that, we will have our next Republican convention in Venezuela because it will be safe. Our cities will be so unsafe, we will not be able to have it there. In El Salvador, murders are down by 70%. Why are they down? Now, he would have you convinced that because he's trained murderers to be wonderful people. No. They're down because they're sending their murderers to the United States of America. This is going to be very bad.
This thing drives me crazy when he says that countries actually send their murderers on purpose.
Republican platform promises to launch the largest deportation operation in the history of our country. Even larger than that of President Dwight D. Eisenhower from many years ago. You know, he was a moderate, but he believed very strongly in borders. He had the largest deportation operation.
He wasn't a moderate on the race.
Just recently, I spoke to the grieving mother of Jocelyn Nungary, a wonderful woman, a precious 12-year-old girl from Houston who last month was tied up, assaulted, and strangled to death after walking to the convenience store just a block away from her house. Her body was dumped near the side of the road in a shallow creek, found by some onlookers who couldn't believe what they had witnessed. Charged with Jocelyn's heinous murder are 2 illegal aliens from Venezuela who came across our border, were in custody, and were then released into the country by this horrible, horrible administration that we have right now. I also met recently with the heartbroken mother and sister of Rachel Morin. Rachel was a 37-year-old mom of 5 beautiful children who was brutally raped and murdered while out on a run. She wanted to keep herself in good shape. It was very important to her. She was murdered. The monster responsible first killed another woman in El Salvador before he was led into America by the White House. This White House let them in. He then attacked a 9-year-old girl and her mother in a home invasion in Los Angeles before murdering Rachel in Maryland. Traveled all throughout the country, doing tremendous damage. Rachel's mother will never be the same. I spent time with her. She will never be the same. I've also met with the wonderful family of Laken Riley, the brilliant 22-year-old nursing student. She was so proud of being first in her class, who was out for a jog on the campus of the University of Georgia when she was assaulted, beaten, and horrifically killed. Yet another American life was stolen by a criminal alien set free by this administration. And these were incredible people we're talking about. These were incredible people who died. Tonight, America, this is my vow. I will not let these killers and criminals into our country.
Yeah, so they say turn down the temperature, national unity, and then he says, look at all these horrible murders and rapes, and it's caused by this administration. That's not exactly turning down the temperature.
No, and it isn't an immigrant crime, as has been proven study after study, does not happen at a rate higher than crime committed by Americans.
Start no new wars. You know, we were the toughest, we were the most respectful. And you saw this. Hungry, strong country, run by a very powerful, tough leader. He's a tough guy. Press doesn't like him because he's tough. And he came out.
No, they don't like him because he's fascist.
Yeah, because he's a nationalist.
The whole world is exploding. What's happening? What's going on? Viktor Orban, Prime Minister of Hungary, very tough man.
They're obsessed with him.
Yeah.
He said, I don't want people coming into my country and blowing up our shopping centers and killing people. But they said to him, tell us what's going wrong, what's happening, what is it? He said, there's only one way you're going to solve it. You got to bring President Trump back to the United States because he kept everybody.
Okay, so a fascist Nazi nationalist leader in another country thinks Trump should come back.
He used a word
No,
I wouldn't
that
use
seems
because
persuasive.
I can't
Yeah.
use that word. Because you'd say it was braggadocious. The press would say he was a braggart. I'm not a braggart. But
No,
Victor,
never.
Russia
Yeah.
was afraid of him. China was afraid of him. Everybody
Russia was
afraid
not
of
afraid
him.
of him.
Nothing
I'm not a
was
braggart.
going to happen. The whole world was at peace, and now the world is blowing up around us. All of these things that you read about were not going to happen. Under President Bush, Russia invaded Georgia. Under President Obama, Russia took Crimea. Under the current administration, Russia is after all of Ukraine. Under President Trump, Russia took nothing.
Instead, he's going to do a peace plan where he gives Russia a portion of Ukraine. That's why he said they want all of Ukraine. He's going to brag later, I didn't give them all of Ukraine. I only gave them part of Ukraine.
100% of ISIS in Syria and Iraq. Something that was said to take 5 years, sir. It'll take 5 years, sir. We did it in a matter of a couple of months. We have a great military. Our military is not woke. It's just some of the fools on top that are woke.
I said that if they get al-Baghdadi, ISIS will immediately collapse. That was yet another prediction of mine. And that's what happened, because it was led by one brilliant guy,
I got
unfortunately.
along very well with him. The press hated when I said that. How could you get along with him? Well, you know, it's nice to get along with somebody who has a lot of nuclear weapons or otherwise, isn't it? See, in the old days, they'd say, that's a wonderful thing. Now they say, how can you possibly do that? But no, I got along with them, and we stopped the missile launches from North Korea. Now North Korea's acting up again, but when we get back, I get along with them. He'd like to see me back, too. I think he misses me, if you want to know the truth.
Yeah, the communist dictator misses you because you let him build nuclear weapons on your
a
wall.
world at peace and turned
You're
it
talking
into a
about
planet
Viktor
of war.
Orban
We're in
and
a
Kim
planet of
Jong-un.
war.
Like two of
Look at
the
that
worst
attack
leaders in the
on Israel.
world.
Look at what's happening with Ukraine. The cities are just bombed out. How can people live like that where buildings, massive buildings, are falling to the ground? It began to unravel with the disastrous withdrawal from Afghanistan, the worst humiliation in the history of our country. We have never had a humiliation like that. 13
Honest question. How many
heroic
people do you
U.S.
think are
service
still
members were
listening to this speech?
tragically and
I mean,
needlessly
do you
killed.
think the number
45
has
others were
fallen a lot?
horrifically
Yeah,
wounded.
I would
Nobody
too.
ever talks about them. No arms, no legs,
He's droning on too
face
much.
Yeah, it's
explosions,
sleepy Don.
horrifically
In fact,
wounded. And by the
so
way,
we have a poll in the chat right now.
in this
Does Trump sound low energy during this
the U.S.
speech?
Senate
Yeah,
from a great
that's interesting
state.
that you have that.
Yeah.
I was
Nevada,
calling him Sleepy Don.
named
He just
Sam
seemed-
Brown, who paid the ultimate price.
2,600 votes.
Thank you, Sam.
It's exactly 50-50.
Thank you, Sam.
50% yes, 50% no on low energy.
Thank
and I'll
you.
tell you why. It's because whenever he's on proper, he's low energy. Whenever he goes
He
off
paid the
proper, he's
biggest
high
price
energy. Always. And he's on
Probably
proper
ever
for a
paid
long
by
time. in this
anybody
speech.
that is running for office, and I think he's going to do great. He's running against a person that is not good, not respected, a total lightweight. But Sam, I think, paid, really, we were talking about it with some of the senators that are working so hard for Sam. But he paid the biggest price of any senator ever to run for the Senate. I don't think anybody's ever what he did. He was a real hero, a really great person.
Tammy Duckworth also
And
lost
he's
her
running,
legs
and
in
I hope
battle.
that everybody gets out and votes
So
for Sam
it's
Brown.
literally not unprecedented.
Max Cleland.
And we also
But he
left
probably has
behind
no idea of those
$85 billion
choices.
worth of
And
military
he would still say it.
equipment, along with many American citizens were left behind. Many, many American citizens, emboldened by that disaster, Russia invaded Ukraine. They saw this group of people that were incompetent. We took the soldiers out first. No, we're going to take the soldiers out second. If they would have followed my plan, we had a great plan. But the plan only kicked in if they did everything perfectly, and they weren't doing things perfectly, so we said it doesn't kick in. 18 months in Afghanistan, we didn't have one, so they were killing them left and right, snipers. And I spoke to the head of the Taliban. You've heard this story. Abdul, still there, still the head of the Taliban.
We've heard it.
The press got on me. Why would you speak to him? I said, because that's where the killing is. I don't have to speak to somebody that has nothing to do with it. And I told him, don't ever do that. Don't ever do that again. Don't ever, ever do that again. You've got to stop. Because during the Obama administration, many great people and soldiers, a lot of soldiers were being killed from long distance. I said, if you keep doing that, you're going to be hit harder than anybody's ever been hit by a country before.
You're right. It's like super dragging on.
And he said, I understand, Your Excellency.
I think it's a really sleepy speech. I mean, he's hitting what he has to hit.
I wonder if he calls the other guy Your Excellency.
Very few are riveting. But
the other guy gave him everything. I mean, what kind of a deal was that? He walked out, gave him everything. Do you know that right now Afghanistan is one of the largest sellers of weapons in the world? They're selling the brand new, beautiful weapons that we gave them. But think of it. He actually said to me, but why do you show me a picture of my home? I said, you'll have to ask your people or one of your wives. But he could figure it out. And for 18 months, we had not one attack on an American soldier by the Taliban. 18 months.
So, by the way, he started to withdraw from Afghanistan, which I actually give him credit for. But at the same time,
and then we had that horrible day where soldiers were killed.
He didn't plan it well either. That's why all those weapons were left behind.
Ridiculous election. But we had that horrible attack. And they also gave up Bagram, one of the biggest bases anywhere in the world, air bases anywhere in the world, the longest runways, most powerful, hardened, thickened runways. We gave it up. And I liked it not because of Afghanistan. I liked it because of China.
The most
it's 1
powerful,
hour away from where China makes their
thickened
weapons.
runways.
And you know,
everything has to be a superlative.
Yeah, China has it now.
Really funny.
We were keeping that.
You weren't going to keep
and
up
now China is likewise circling Taiwan, and Russian warships and nuclear submarines are operating 60 miles off the coast in Cuba. Do you know that? No, the press refuses to write about it. If that were me running this country and we had nuclear submarines in Cuba, I will tell you that the headlines every day would be, what's wrong with our president? You don't even hear this. You're not hearing about this. Russia
That's actually true.
Has nuclear submarines and warships 60 miles away, Mr. Congressman, from Miami, by the way, happens to be here. Correct? In Cuba.
Imagine he's like,
that would not be stood for if it were somebody else. They don't want to mention it, but now maybe they will. And the entire
world. Yeah, they probably will, and he's right about that.
I tell you this, we want our hostages back, and they better be back before I assume office, or you will be paying a very big price.
What more of a price can Gaza pay? Well, you think Israel hasn't bombed them enough?
With our victory in November, the years of war, weakness, and chaos will be over. I don't have wars. I had no wars other than ISIS, which I defeated, but that was a war that was started. We had no wars. I could stop wars with a telephone call. I could stop wars.
You continued Afghanistan for 4 years.
If properly stated, it would never start. We will replenish our military and build an Iron Dome missile defense system to ensure that no enemy can strike our homeland. And this great Iron Dome will be built entirely in the USA. We're going to build it in the USA. And Wisconsin.
When does the British Open start? What time is it?
Wisconsin, just like I gave you that massive ship contract, and you're doing a very nice job, Governor, right? Thank you, Governor. And they're doing a great job.
Scout walk.
In fact, I had a little design change, and we gave them a tremendous for essentially what we used to call destroyers. These are now the most beautiful. They look like yachts. I said, we have to take the bow, and we have to make it a little nicer and a little point at the top instead of a flat nose. And the people at the shipyard said,
we sure we needed that detail?
We have most beautiful ships, right, Governor?
Well, this is what the rallies turn into.
And it was
These
a
are
big
what the rally
contract that
speeches
everybody
are.
wanted. I gave it to Wisconsin, but we're going to have a lot of that built right here in the state of Wisconsin and all other states. Israel has an Iron Dome. They have a missile defense
In the state of
system.
Wisconsin and all other states.
342 missiles were shot into Israel, and only one got through a little bit. It was badly wounded. It fell to the ground, but most of them are. And Ronald Reagan wanted this many years ago, but we really didn't have the technology many years ago. Remember, they called it Starship, spaceship, anything to mock him. But he was a very good president, very, very good.
Star Wars. They didn't call it Starship or Spaceship.
But now we have unbelievable
Anything
technology.
they want to develop.
And why should other countries have this and we don't? No, we're going to build an Iron Dome over our country, and we're going to be sure that nothing can come and harm our people. And again, from an economic development standpoint, we're going to make it all right here. No more sending it out to other countries in order to help. It's America first. America first. We will unleash the power of American innovation. And as we do, we will soon be on the verge of finding cures to cancer, Alzheimer's disease, and many other diseases.
So they'll find
We're going to get to the bottom of it.
Diseases.
Because he's Santa Claus. So he's going to do everything.
I don't want to mention other than one time I had to, because when you say the 10 worst, I had to do it. I didn't want anybody to be confused. But this man said, we're going to find a cure to cancer. Nothing happened. We're going to get to the cure for cancer and Alzheimer's and so many other things. We're so close to doing something great. But we need a leader that will let it be done. We will not have men playing in women's sports.
You know, he's making it seem like he doesn't want to say Biden's name. But it's because Biden may not be his opponent, and he knows that. So
that's exactly right. That's exactly right. That's why he's not mentioning that much, because he's making it generic about all Democrats, and they replace
our nation's once great cities, making them safe, clean, and beautiful again. And that includes our nation's capital, which is a horrible killing field. So many things. They leave from Wisconsin, they go to look at the Washington Monument, they end up getting stabbed, killed, or shot. We will be very soon very proud of our capital. Again, Washington,
every tourist
D.C.
in Washington is dead.
It's ironic that he's talking about protecting the capital.
America is on the cusp of a new golden age, but we will have the courage to seize it. We're going to take it. We're going to make it a current. We're going to bring this into a golden age like never seen before. Remember this, China wants to do it, Japan wants to do it, all of these countries want to do it. We have to produce massive amounts of energy if we're going to produce the new. If you look at some of the things that have been done and some of the things that we're going to do, but
the best
AI needs literally twice the electricity that's available now in our country. Can you imagine? But
it's
instead, we're spending
Eastern time, right?
Exactly
places where they recharge electric cars. They built 8 chargers at a certain location toward the Midwest. 8 chargers for $9 billion. Think of them as a tank for filling up your gas. Think of it. They spent $9 billion on 8 chargers, 3 of which didn't work.
That can't be true. Well, though with the government, sometimes you never know.
All over our country, this crazy electric mandate. If you're going to do this, and by the way, I'm all for electric. They have their application. But if somebody wants to buy a gas-powered car, gasoline-powered car, or a hybrid, they're going to be able to do it. And we're going to make that change on day 1.
But he threw in, I'm all for electric because Elon Musk is giving $45 million a month.
Yeah.
So, this attacking it against electric, it's part of their old talking points. I guarantee you it goes away after the $180 million.
My journey with you nearly ended. We know that. And yet, here we are tonight, all gathered together, talking about the future promise and a total renewal of a thing we love very much. It's called America. We live in a world of miracles. None of us knows God's plan or where life's adventure will take us. I want to thank Franklin Graham for being here tonight. He's an outstanding man.
But we're back to the speakers.
Yeah.
He wrote me a note recently. I have a lot of respect for him. Sir, I love your storytelling. I think it's great in front of these big rallies. But, sir, please do me one favor. It won't make any difference. Please don't use any foul language. I was a little embarrassed. I said, he said, it won't make any difference. Actually, it does. The story's not quite as good, but I've been very good. The story is not quite as good, to be honest. I've got to have a little talk with Franklin, but he was great. He's a great gentleman. His father was so incredible, Billy Graham. My father used to love taking me to see Billy Graham. My father would take me to see Billy Graham at Yankee Stadium. He had the biggest rallies you've ever seen. He was a good rally guy, too. But he'd get up, and he was a fantastic guy. My father loved Billy Graham. But I love Franklin Graham. I think Franklin's been fantastic.
To know if he really went
I'm working so hard to adhere to his note to me. I'm working hard on it, Franklin. But if the events of last Saturday make anything clear, it is that every single moment we have on earth is a gift from God.
Now we're at meandering fire.
We have to make the most of every day for the people and for the country that we love. The attacker in Pennsylvania wanted to stop our movement, but the truth is the movement has never been about me. It has always been about you. It's your movement. It's the biggest movement in the history of our country by far.
But it's never been about me.
Well, you did lose by 7.5 million votes.
It has always been about the hardworking, patriotic citizens of America. For too long, our nation has settled for too little. We settled for too little. We've given everything to other nations, to other people. You've been told to lower your expectations and to accept less for your families. I am here tonight with the opposite message. Your expectations are not big enough. They're not big enough. It is time to start expecting and demanding the best leadership in the world, leadership that is bold, dynamic, relentless, and fearless. We can do that. We are Americans. Ambition is our heritage. Greatness is our birthright. But as long as our energies are spent fighting each other, our destiny will remain out of reach. And that's not acceptable. We must instead take that energy and use it to realize our country's true potential and write our own thrilling chapter of the American story. We can do it together. We will unite. We are going to come together, and success will bring us together. It is a story of love, sacrifice, and so many other things. And remember the word devotion. It's unmatched devotion. Our American ancestors crossed the Delaware, survived the icy winter at Valley Forge, and defeated a mighty empire to establish our cherished republic. They fought so hard, they lost so many. They pushed thousands and thousands of miles across a dangerous frontier, taming the wilderness to build a life and a magnificent home for their family. They packed their families into covered wagons, trekked across hazardous trails, scaled towering mountains, and braved rivers and rapids to stake their claim on the wide open, new, and very beautiful frontier. When our way of life was threatened, American patriots marched onto the battlefield, raced into enemy strongholds, and stared down death and stared down those enemies to keep alive the flame of freedom. At Yorktown, Gettysburg, and Midway, they joined the roll call of immortal heroes. So many heroes, so many great, great people. And we have to cherish those people. We can't forget those people. We have to cherish those people.
We should check to see what time we have to be at the Democratic convention.
And building monuments.
No, I'm literally going to get on a flight to LA in a couple hours.
Not a bad thing. They saved our country.
There were a lot of sacrifices.
No hardship was too
we
great.
just sacrificed a couple of hours of our lives.
No enemy was too fierce. Together, these patriots soldiered on and endured, and they prevailed because they had faith in each other, faith in their country, and above all, they had faith in their God.
should have ended
Just
on
like
the
our
immigration chart.
ancestors, we must now come together, rise above past differences. Any disagreements have to be put aside and go forward, united as one people, one nation, pledging allegiance to one great, beautiful, I think it's so beautiful, American flag.
Now we're talking about how beautiful the American flag is. Brother, wrap it up.
For your support, and I am humbly asking for your vote. I want your vote.
Even the crowd is
to make our country great again. Every day I will strive to honor the trust you have placed in me, and I will never, ever let you down. I promise that. I will never let you down. To all of the forgotten men and women who have been neglected, abandoned, and left behind, you will be forgotten no longer. We will press forward, and together we will win, win, win.
Drone. We're drone on for nights and nights with this thing. Look, obviously, we'll talk about it in the analysis soon.
Win.
We're going to do the summary. We're going to do the summary for the members of this speech. So hit the join button below.
And no one will ever stop us. No matter what dangers come our way, no matter what obstacles lie in our path, we will keep striving toward our shared and glorious destiny, and we will not fail. We will not fail. Together we will save this country. We will
Each time I think he's going to say, God bless America, and be out of there.
Rich and wonderful tomorrows that our people so truly deserve. America's
we're already in the wonderful tomorrow.
Will be bigger,
we're literally
bolder, brighter, happier, stronger, freer, greater, and more united than ever before.
So we're going to have the summary for our members first. We'll put it up later as well, but when you're watching live, we want you guys to get it first. Hit the join button below.
Make America great again. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Wisconsin. God bless you. God bless you, Wisconsin, and God bless the United States of America, our great country. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you.
Now, are the Vances and the Trumps going to come out?
Yeah, well, we'll give you updates on that when we come back from the members only. And guys, this was amazing at the RNC. Please send us to the DNC as well. The way you do that is either become a member or donate through tyt.com/team. Whenever we mention that, the link is always in the description box. I'll update you also on the poll on whether he was low energy or not. Exciting conclusion. Actually, one side of the poll did win. Summary of the speech, summary of the RNC for members only. You guys will get it first. Hit the join button below. We'll see you right there. Thanks for watching the Young Turks. We really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.